Welcome to this explainer breaking down an absolute thriller of a match. We are looking at England's 4-2 opening victory against Croatia at the 2026 World Cup in Dallas. And honestly, if you were looking for a massive statement of intent from the Three Lions, you definitely got one. But man, it was anything but straightforward. We're talking historic milestones, some serious defensive jitters, and a second-half performance that completely flipped the script. So we really need to dive into this fascinating tactical turnaround, because the central mystery of this entire match is pretty simple. How on earth did Thomas Tuchel take a team that looked so shaky, so hesitant, and honestly pretty vulnerable at the back for the first 45 minutes and turn them into an absolute juggernaut right after the break? It is the ultimate tale of two halves, and it all hinges on a dramatic 15-minute window inside that locker room.
Section 1, a chaotic first half.
To really understand this transformation, you have to picture the scene inside the Dallas Stadium. You've got over 70,000 fans packed into the air-conditioned home of the Dallas Cowboys, a complete sea of white England shirts mixed with those red and white checkered Croatian kits. The atmosphere was just electric, and right from the opening whistle, the football completely mirrored that intense energy. It was like a frantic heavyweight bout with both teams just trading massive blows. 12 minutes in, Harry Kane converts a retaken penalty after Luka Modric fouls Noni Madueke. But Croatia? They don't even blink. 36 minutes, Martin Baturina hits this brilliant curling strike to tie it up. Then England responds at 42 minutes with a towering Kane header right off a Declan Rice corner. But then, right on the absolute stroke of halftime, at 45+5, Petr Musa volleys home another equalizer for Croatia. So England took the lead twice, and twice, Croatia immediately pegged them back to a 2-2 stalemate. The thing is, despite taking the lead twice, England was showing this nervous energy that felt, well, a little too familiar to their supporters. They started dropping into this deep block, playing these really safe passes backward to goalkeeper Jordan Pickford, and exhibiting what assistant coach Anthony Barry openly called fearful patterns. It felt like a sudden regression to suffer ball. You know, that pragmatic, super cautious style of play focused entirely on minimizing risks. Tuchel wants a brave, proactive team, but it really looked like the sheer weight of the occasion was pulling the players right back into old habits.
Section 2. Tuchel's halftime locket.
Conceding that second equalizer so deep into first-half stoppage time clearly rattled the Three Lions. Walking down the tunnel at 2-2, you could feel the momentum had completely swung. But in that 15-minute interval, Thomas Tuchel didn't panic. Instead, he delivered an absolute rocket to his players. He literally told them to abandon their caution. Harry Kane actually revealed later that Tuchel asked them, "What's the worst that can happen? We lose the match, first group game, we get on with it." He demanded that they take the shackles off, play with bravery, and actually dictate the game. He wanted them playing his way, courageous, tenacious, and entirely on the front foot. And when you look at it, there is just a stark contrast between England's timid first-half tactics and their aggressive front-foot identity in the second half. Initially, the passing was so horizontal and backward, creating this low block that essentially just invited Croatian pressure. But in the second half, the instruction was clear: go full gas. We're talking a high press, vertical passing, and absolutely suffocating the opponent before they could even think about crossing the halfway line. Now, you can talk about tactics all day long, but this data right here, the ground duels, this proves the physical and psychological shift. In the first half, England won just 33% of their ground duels. They were getting out-muscled and out-hustled by an aging Croatian midfield. But in the second half, a massive leap to a 73% success rate. They completely overwhelmed Croatia off the ball, winning it back lightning fast and keeping them pinned deep in their own half.
Section 3. Going full gas.
So, returning to the pitch with Tuchel's words still ringing in their ears, England executed this new game plan with devastating speed. The hesitance was entirely gone, replaced by this ruthless attacking intent that Croatia was just not ready for. I mean, 85 seconds, just 85 seconds into the second half. That is all it took. Jude Bellingham, playing in that number 10 role, receives a beautiful sweeping pass from Elliot Anderson, drives powerfully right down the flank, and fires a low shot in off the far post to make it 3-2. It was just a powerhouse move, proving they had completely internalized that halftime message. The shackles weren't just off, they were shattered. And the onslaught absolutely did not stop there. It was pure carnage for the Croatian defense. Honestly, if it wasn't for a truly heroic string of saves from goalkeeper Dominik Livakovic, the scoreline would have been a complete bloodbath. Livakovic pulls off this breathtaking triple save to deny Nico O'Reilly, Anthony Gordon, and Ezri Konsa in rapid succession, and then pops right back up to double-stop Harry Kane. England just launched shot after shot, suffocating Croatia with a relentless high press.
Then, Tuchel gets to show off his tactical flexibility and the frankly terrifying depth of this squad. In the 72nd minute, he brings on Bukayo Saka and Marcus Rashford. Think about that. Fresh legs with that kind of pace against an exhausted defense. And it pays off perfectly. In the 85th minute, Saka provides a tantalizing pass. Rashford cuts inside past Josip Stanisic, fakes a shot with his left, and then just strokes it home with his right. 4-2. Game over.
Section 4. Harry Kane makes history.
While that second-half team performance was spectacular, we have to talk about the captain. He steadied the ship when the waters were incredibly rough in that first half. And that brings us to a massive 10 World Cup goals for Harry Kane. With his brace in this match, he officially ties Gary Lineker's legendary all-time tournament record for England. It is just an incredible achievement that cements his legacy on the world stage for sure. And Kane's performance was just packed with incredible milestones. He is now only the second English player ever, alongside David Beckham, to score in 3 different World Cups. Plus, he now holds the outright record for the most penalty goals in World Cup history with 5. What is truly amazing, though, is his composure. He saw his initial stutter-step penalty saved by Livakovic, right? But after VAR caught the keeper off his line, Kane stepped right back up, totally abandoned the stutter, and just buried it in the exact same corner. Add in that clinical header off Declan Rice's corner, and you have a vintage captain's performance. Now, right after the match, Kane completely echoed his manager's philosophy. He said, "We went full gas and they couldn't deal with it. That's the level we have to set for every game." This is a big deal. The captain isn't just accepting these new tactics. He's actively demanding them as the brand new aggressive standard for the team moving forward in this tournament.
Section 5. A statement World Cup opener.
Zooming out a bit, opening matches are notoriously tricky. And while this wasn't exactly a flawless performance, it definitely sent a shockwave through the tournament. So what does this victory actually tell us about their ambitions? Just look at the numbers. Despite the early jitters and those 2 equalizers, England utterly outclassed Croatia. They generated 22 total shots compared to Croatia's 10, and amassed 2.8 expected goals to Croatia's tiny 0.71. Once England decided to take control, they mathematically and visually owned the pitch. The major takeaways from this explainer are pretty clear. First, we are seeing the definitive rejection of sufferball. The attack is devastating, and with game changers like Rashford and Saka coming off the bench, the depth is just a nightmare for opponents. However, we have to acknowledge the defensive vulnerabilities are still there. When players like Nico O'Reilly push up into midfield, it leaves gaps on the flank, and those are exactly the spaces Croatia exploited for their goals. Tuchel's tactical flexibility won the day here, but fixing those defensive transitions is going to be right at the top of his to-do list before they face Ghana. Which leaves us wondering about the ultimate question. Is this high-risk, high-reward approach exactly what England needs to finally lift the trophy and end 60 years of hurt? Or are those defensive cracks going to cost them dearly when they face tighter, much more clinical opposition later on? One thing is for absolute certain. Watching England under Thomas Tuchel is going to be an incredible ride. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time as the 2026 World Cup continues to unfold.